I think we may have confused loving ourselves with never expecting anything of ourselves. So if you have been wanting to glow up, transform your health, be more confident in yourself, and really be proud of who you are, today in this video, I'm going to teach you how to identify the one lie that might be getting in the way and the one virtue that can really change everything. If you're new to the Made Good fam, I'm Flo. I'm the founder of the Catholic Nutritionist. We are a team of functional nutritionists that help women all over the world, hundreds of women a year, to be able to find greater healing and freedom and living well through a holistic approach and have a lot of fun in the process. And I started this podcast a few years ago to help you understand wellness through a Catholic lens and make it fun. So it's been a minute since we do this. I used to do this all the time on episodes. Crack your bevy open. And let's get into some girl chat. So currently we are halfway through our August Glow Up Challenge. If you missed it, I turned everything that we had done in these like glow up episodes on the show and the conversations that came from it into a full-blown program where you could do it step by step with me to help you and with a banging community to match. We just jumped in with over 100 women. It has been unreal, literally crazier than I expected. I didn't expect people to come in with like the energy that they did. And it's been so beautiful. And also people be getting things done. It's been really, really cool to get to watch other people's glow ups right up close. And I started that because I started my own intentional glow up a couple of years ago before my 28th birthday. And part of it came from assessing and being like, hey, some of these things that I'm doing are unacceptable. So I want to talk about it from that perspective today and why the just loving yourself all the time is not untrue, but it might be incomplete or it might be getting warped in a way that is impacting you. So let's talk about the importance first of having structure and discipline and creating an actual pathway for yourself to become who you want to be and putting structures around your desires, the things that you know that you want and that are good desires. How do you put structures around them in a way that is helpful and effective? And why are you shying away from it? There's been a few conversations that I've had recently that make me pause and wonder if kind of like the self-love and just the radical acceptance that we hear about a lot online and has been a lot of the conversation, honestly, back since 2016, has become a little bit conflated with you shouldn't want to change. You should just accept the way that things are. And you wanting to change is actually against self-love or appreciating yourself. I don't know about you, but the phrase self-love, I don't like it. It's just not because I don't love myself and I don't want you to love yourself. But again, it takes me back to a very specific place in 2016 where it was just like, love yourself, everything. I don't know. I feel like the messaging around it was so over the top and it got so corporate that everyone and their mother was saying it that it just kind of gives me a shiver. It gives me a chill. But some of the conversations that I've had in the past have been, hey, I'm concerned that if I work on this goal, it will work against my food freedom, or it will go against my acceptance of myself or me learning to love myself. Something like having a weight loss goal that is sincere, like there's an excess of body fat. Something that is appropriate. There's a need for weight loss and wanting to move towards it, but feeling like I can't, or like there's something bad that's going to happen if I do that. Or when it comes to things like dietary changes, that there are times sometimes where it's like, yeah, the gluten does have to go because you got Hashimoto's and your body is reacting really badly to it. So there can be those situations, but I hear this stopping ourselves because we think it's going to work against us in the long haul. Now, if I were to rephrase that for you and I were to tell you, hey, I'm afraid that having structure and discipline and a mission will work against my freedom and will impact my freedom negatively, would you say that that is true? Just that blanket statement? Probably not. And when we think about it from a spiritual perspective, we do need structures and we sometimes do have to say yeses and nos that can be difficult. So to go back to the original question, should you have to love yourself the way that you are? Well, let's get into it a little bit more deeply. I think that initial lie that you loving yourself means that you shouldn't want to change things is affecting a lot more Catholic women than they might even realize. So much of being Catholic and being well is being able to hold two things that might be seemingly opposites at the same time and being okay with it. So those things don't need to cancel out. I can love and respect myself and accept that there are things that are not up to standard, or there are things that I want to see change, or there are things that are wrong, or things that I want to let go of, or maybe are unvirtuous or vicious or sinful. Like those, I don't have to hate myself into becoming a different person. So really the question is, do you know how? And this is something that has been really curious to watch in the Glow Up too, or in Made Good in general. Real life happens, and I'll see people start to kind of like have difficulty keeping up with an expectation that they set for themselves. Maybe they feel like they're falling behind or anything like that. And what is the tone of voice that you take when that happens? Do you know how to correct yourself, how to get on track, how to deal with disappointment, how to truly like see yourself as you are and not freak out about it? And not become harsh about it. Another thought or another observation that I have is the structure and discipline that you need to reach your goals is far less frustrating than the not ever reaching the goals because there is a lack of structure. Do you know what I'm saying? Like today I was having a conversation with someone in the Globe about macros. It can be annoying to track your food and to track your macros. 100%, I literally know that. It is more annoying to be in like a halfway fat loss mode for like 6 months because we're not tracking properly and we're not locking into it enough to be able to see results. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the structure is actually what can contain it enough that you can actually get to see the change that you want to see. Whereas if we're only running without structure or being like, maybe if I just accept it. And then also the thing is, as long as you're not lying to yourself, that's all I'm saying. As long as you're not lying to yourself. If you are like, yeah, I completely love and accept whatever is going on with me and I'm cool with it, amazing. But as long as you're not lying yourself and telling yourself that you're cool with it, when interiorly you're so frustrated or you're so disappointed or you're so confused, like why things aren't working out the way that they are, or that you're not where you want to be, like you never have to lie yourself into your best health. You're never going to lie yourself into loving yourself. And you can't just be like, I love myself, and so therefore I should not want these things to change. Whereas those things don't have to be mutually exclusive. Like you can love yourself and want to see the things change. You know what I'm saying? I do always think it's worth assessing, how do you speak to yourself? Like what's your internal monologue like when you are struggling or when you are failing? I'm doing air quotes right now. Or when you are not meeting the standard. And this can even be like, how do you talk to yourself after sin? When you have sinned and you need to go to confession, what is the conversation like there? And when you go to confession, do you have an easy time receiving that mercy? Do you believe that God forgives you and redeems you and heals you and that it's done and like it's forgiven and it's gone and it's wiped away? I think that is always an interesting place because that will probably give you a good insight into how you respond in your health and wellness pursuits as well. If you are someone that can receive mercy and start again and know, hey, you know what? I know that I'm a sinner. Like I totally expect that. I don't expect perfection of myself. I pray that the Father perfects me, but I don't expect that I on my own am going to be perfect. I'm like not surprised at all when I fail. And I know for a fact that apart from him, I can do nothing. So those things don't really surprise me. It's honestly at certain points more of a surprise when things are graceful and holy and beautiful, because it's like, wow, that's Jesus. That's 100% Jesus. And his transformation in me and his transformation in my heart and the virtue that he's giving and the graces that he gives. So I think being able to have that lightness and being able to accept that in your journey, in your glow up journey, in your health journey, your hormone, your gut, your acne, like whatever it is, you are going to have disappointments. You are going to fall short of your own expectations. And you are also the one who can hold herself up to a certain standard. You're the one that gets to say, no, we're not making these excuses anymore. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep living the same year over and over and over. I cannot have the same resolution 6 years in a row. Like, if it's something that I can just get done. And sometimes, even as I'm saying that, I'm like, well, sometimes it's like we go back to confession with the same sin all the time. And some things are just long processes to work through and to heal and to restore. But if the difference in this next year of your life is you taking yourself seriously and loving and respecting yourself enough to be like, girl, let's go. And let's set up some structure. I always think about it as a trellis. I always think about it as a garden and making sure that there's enough structure for things to blossom and grow. I could honestly probably do a whole thing about gardens. Like the pot has to be big enough for the root system, because if the pot is too small, so you have to expect big things of yourself. And then the trellis is going to give you the structure that you need to grow big and tall and flourishing. And then there's going to be some fertilizer. There's going to be some ish that happens. And guess what? You grow bigger, better, and stronger every single time. There's a lot that we can learn from gardening. And so what is going on in the garden of your heart? Do you believe that holding yourself accountable to certain goals is going to get in the way of accepting and loving yourself and believing that you're made good? Because I would argue that it wouldn't. And a lot of it has to do with your disposition of heart. If the word discipline sounds very, very harsh to you, or you don't know how to do it in a non-harsh way, you don't know how to hold yourself accountable and how to maintain structure for yourself without being mean and beating yourself up when you don't meet it, you probably do need another voice. You probably need to relearn what it sounds like to grow in these things with someone else kind of reteaching it to you. I will say that. You can hold two things at the same time. I am made good. I am lovable. Jesus died for me. I am redeemed. And there are things about my habits, my health, my relationships, my life that I want to see change. And I'm going to do something about it. So what is the virtue that is going to be the most important if this is something that you've been wanting or have been struggling with? That is the first cardinal virtue, which is prudence. Prudence is the virtue that will guide your reason to help you find the true good in every situation. What is the actual thing that I need to be doing in this, and picking the right way to go about it to reach the proper end. And honestly, I think that this is the virtue that I think we all need to lock in on in September. So according to Aquinas, there's 3 specific steps that you take that are related to growing and practicing in prudence, which is first seeking counsel, asking the right questions from the right person. Second is judging. So out of those answers that they may give you, what is going to be the best answer to that question, the right answer for your situation? And then commanding, doing what you decided, like applying the action itself. So in order to even be able to ask for good counsel, we do need to have humility, because if we lack humility, we can't even ask, because there can be such a depth of insecurity that someone giving honest feedback or counsel or advice could end up feeling like a threat, or it can kind of shatter your perception of yourself. So to have the humility to know, hey, yeah, I know how to live in reality. I know the things that I'm good at, and I know the things that I'm not. I know the things that I'm excelling in and the things that I'm struggling in. And seeking counsel from the right person that you feel like you can receive it from, and that you know is going to be just in their advice, just in their assessment of you, and helpful and generous, I think, and gentle in the way that they speak to you. But really acknowledging our mistakes. And so if you're looking at where you are right now, we're 8.5 months, we're almost 9 months into 2026, go ahead and do a little gut check. What are the things that you're like, oof, I totally thought I would have this locked in by now, or I told myself that I would work on this, or maybe there's something new that's coming up that is catching your attention and needs attention. And then in that commanding step, it really is deciding what you are going to do and doing it. I think a lot of the times we can get caught up in, well, what is going to, the first couple steps, those first 2 of like, how many people can I possibly ask? And then, well, out of all of those, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? The right next step is going to be the step that you take. At a certain point, we just have to get moving, and you can figure things out later. And you can always adjust, and you can always adapt. There's most situations in life, you're going to be fine if it's not the perfect first step. But what matters most is that you actually begin and that you start. We really can't plan ourselves mentally into a perfect life. And we're not going to plan ourselves into virtue. It only comes from action and from living and from being put in those situations. Like, for example, almost every single month I get asked, what's the best time to work out, or what's the best workout split? And I'm like, for real, the time that you're actually going to do it. I could tell you all day what is like optimal or more scientifically studied or whatever it is. Like, of course, those are real factors, and I'm happy to tell you. But at the end of the day, which one are you going to do? And sometimes no one else can give you those answers, and you have to just know it for yourself and be looking at your life. And that's what prudence really is, looking at your life, knowing yourself, and being like, hey, what's the best next step in this situation that will get me to the best end? All of it has to be informed by truth and goodness, and really everything coming back to God and saying, okay, what does God want for me here? And then I think part of prudence is being able to look back on things and learn lessons. You're not going to plan yourself out of learning lessons. You're going to learn them by falling over. you know? And that's a good thing. I always think about how the time I tried to learn how to ride a skateboard, I kept jumping off of the board because I was so afraid of falling. And then I finally fell off. And my first thought, well, first I was like, well, and then my second thought was, that was it. We've been here for like 2 hours and I was so afraid of falling off of this board. And now that I finally fell, I'm like, that was it. That wasn't even scary. Didn't even hurt that bad. I'm all good. It's okay. I wasn't tragically injured by a 2-foot fall. And so with that prudence also comes some bravery and some fortitude to be able to say, you know what, Lord, I believe that you're going to give me the grace to do this, and I'm going to be able to see it to the end with you as my strength. So here's the thing. If you want to kind of take this to the chapel today, something that I would simmer on in relation to this topic is, if you were teaching someone to do something that was little, under the age of 9, what attitude would you treat them with when they mess up? How would you encourage them to get started and to stay the course? How would you instill discipline? And maybe you're listening and you're a mom and you actually do already have to do this with your children, or you're an aunt or you're a godmother, you're an important figure in some child's life, you're a teacher, and you know what it's like to help raise up little souls. And you have to have this balance of pushing and pulling, this balance of firmness and softness. And the truth is, you might not have received that as a kid, and that's real. And so you might be learning this for the very first time. So sometimes it's almost helpful to switch gears into being like, well, if this was a kid that I was trying to be like, come on, we can do this. Let's do this. We're going to put some structures on top of it that we've never done before. There are going to be things that are challenging. We can do hard things. And at the same time, when you mess up, hey, that's okay. Like, let's keep moving forward. How do we adapt, overcome, move on with the situation? That's what I would go simmer on, and apply that to your specific health, glow up, wellness goal, what a spiritual goal, whatever it is that you are working on. How would you help coach someone that is little through it? With what tenderness and also discipline and strength would you speak to them? And that's somewhat of a similar language that I would hope that you would have with yourself. Your brain will shut down with shame. If we go into a shame spiral, I can't believe that you did that. I can't believe that we couldn't figure this out. How dumb that you even are a beginner in this. You should know this by now. You've tried to lose weight so many times. How are we back at the starting line with this? Like, this is so embarrassing. Take a deep breath. If that hit for you, and if you have spoken to yourself like that, in the name of Jesus, we cast out all of the harshness and evil that either has been spoken to us or that we have kind of received from whatever places in our hearts. And we ask that you fill our hearts with grace and with peace and with love and gentleness, because that ain't no way to talk to God's baby daughter. That's just no way. Your brain will shut down completely. You're never going to beat yourself into it, which I think is why I'm such a big Saint Teresa girl anyway. I'm like, I know, Jesus. Like, I would rather throw myself into your arms and be like, help me, you take care of it, than expect that I'm going to be some eagle of a saint. I know myself. And I think that is a big part of this too. You do have to know yourself. And I am starting to wonder, maybe I should journal about this, but I'm starting to wonder if part of the crisis of women not knowing themselves is because they are inundated with knowing so many other people and knowing so much about other people online. What do you think about that? Because I've been thinking a lot about how a lot of the times I notice people are taking the opposite advice than what is meant for them. So like, if you think about something like this podcast or a reel, I can only make it talking to one person. Like in this video, I'm talking to the one person who believes that she cannot have structure. Otherwise, it will mean that she doesn't love herself and it's going to impact her relationship and believing that she's made good. But that is like a very specific message for a very specific person. Or sometimes when I make something related to weight or to acne or to discipline, whatever it may be, you can only talk to one person at a time. But I feel like a lot of times people don't know where they're at well enough and are taking information that's meant for the opposite person, someone who's in the completely polar opposite of where they are. And it just ends up sending them further and further away from their own goals. So I think the question of, do you know yourself well enough? Do you know why you keep doing the things that you're doing? Do you know what kind of structure and accountability would be impactful for you? Do you know what it actually means to love and respect yourself as a daughter of God, to receive it? But more than anything, rather than focusing so hard on like, how do I love myself? How do I love myself? My ultimate question is, do you let yourself be loved? You know? Do you let the Father love you? Do you actually let yourself receive that love into your heart? Because a lot of the times, if we're speaking with that harshness, or we have that much hopelessness, or we're that afraid of putting up proper discipline and structures, it can come from a place of insecurity, of being like, if I mess up, then everyone's going to know that I suck, or I can't disappoint myself one more time. And none of those things are true or good or beautiful. And so a lot of the question is, will you let yourself be loved? Will you let Jesus meet you in your desires? And do you know that he cares about them? Like, if you are trying to clear your skin, and that is one of the biggest goals that you have for 2026, do you know that he cares? If you are in big need to lose 50 pounds, do you know that he cares and that he wants to be in that with you? If you feel like you have lost your spark and you just want to have your joie de vivre back, do you know that he cares? Do you know that he wants to hear about that from you? Do you know that he's the one that can actually help you take that desire and structure it into something that is going to be fruitful? It's true. He really does. And in honor of that, St. Elizabeth of the Trinity, let yourself be loved quote, we're going to have a bonus episode for you very, very soon from someone very, very special, a beautiful sister who you might actually recognize if you've been online, but not what you're expecting, but a viral reel telling a story that is very, very beautiful related to St. Elizabeth of the Trinity. Keep an eye out for that. That's going to be a little bonus episode that I'm going to throw out. I just have been meaning to post that one for months. And right now, I immensely feel like it has to be posted. So that's my encouragement for you today. Just loving yourself, thinking that you just need to love yourself where you are, might be keeping you stuck. You can love yourself and have structure and go after goals and change your life. You can reinvent yourself without hating yourself. So we can do a whole other episode on that too, and what it can look like to reinvent yourself. Let me know if you want it. I just wanted to speak from the heart and to the heart real quick, because you are made good and God has good plans for you. And I want you to be proud of who you are and how you're living. And sometimes that takes an honest audit and making a game plan and resolving to change some things around. So in the spirit of that, if you are listening and you're like, man, yes, I need it, I want it, and you don't want to do it alone and you want to relearn how to do it with someone accompanying you in a voice that is gentle and going to help you actually accomplish things, we are running the Summer Glow Up Challenge back. We're going to do it as the September 30-day glow up challenge, where you are going to get a step-by-step game plan to glowing up. Those 4 main pillars: healthy, happy, holy, and even hotter. Because that's the truth. That's the truth. A lot of Catholic women are trying to get a little hotter for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Which is just making your skin, your clothes, all those kinds of things. Not in an inappropriate way, don't worry. So if that is for you, let's do a 30-day sprint together. You're going to see the link in the show notes. I can't wait to welcome you in. The way that I have seen these women light up in this program so far is blowing my mind. I'm so proud of them. If you're in the August Glow Up Challenge right now, I'm obsessed with you. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you. And this has been the funnest experience with you guys. So I'll leave that for you there. But otherwise, I want you to take to that chapel, that idea of how do you coach someone who is little? How would you coach a little girl you? She deserved to be spoken to with gentleness and with tenderness, but also be taught to handle hard things and to have resilience. And a lot of times we might be learning that for our whole lives, and that's okay. Because if it's not slow, it's not human. Am I right? Okay, I want to hear your thoughts. If you're listening on Spotify, you can leave a comment on the show. If you're listening on Apple and you really have a thought, you can still go to Spotify and leave a comment. Or you can shoot me a DM at The Catholic Nutritionist on Instagram. And if you're ready to kickstart your glow up and you want my help, go ahead and join in the show notes. We start September 1st.